Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So, guys, we want to talk about Yeshua. There was somebody that on the last video we had done made a comment saying, so who really was Yeshua? Jesus, most of the world knows him as Jesus. Maybe some know him as Issa. Certainly one of the most charismatic figures the world has known.
Very lovable figure, someone who really wanted to help humanity in a big way.
Absolutely. And before we go deeper, just wanted to ask everybody to subscribe both channels, Evolutionary Energy Arts and also EEARTS, so we could get some notifications, hopefully, for some of the videos. And I'm going to include a list, a whole bunch of different videos we've done on Yeshua, starting with this one, which was a little prayer or a mantra of peace to Yeshua and Mary. And so there were a couple of people made comments, I think it was on Bitchute and maybe it was on Brighteon, saying, I don't see anywhere in my Bible it tells me to pray to Mary. You know, what are prayers? Prayers are basically asking for help, right? You know, I could use guidance. And would we ask a friend for help? I would think so, if they're knowledgeable in something and you trust their opinion. So we can ask anybody that we feel might give us insight, knowledge, or perhaps be able to help us in some way, shape, or form. You know, again, this is where people are just so conditioned. All they know is what they've been taught, perhaps on just Sundays, and maybe not every Sunday, maybe here and there, or Wednesday night Bible studies. Oh, you know, again, if you're only believing the mainstream version, you're missing the whole of the story. Because, again, the mainstream version is going to be the script that is written by the controllers of this world. So we'll have all these different videos listed there so you can see what resonates with you. This one's on the true mission of the Anointed One, Yeshua, Jesus, and his relationship with Mary Magdalene, which we have covered many times too. Urgent message from Yeshua and the guides on the Lion's Gate energies, the healings of Yeshua Jesus, and how we can do even greater things. And just some thoughts while we're sitting in a graveyard. There's an orb in this video popped on Yeshua and the afterlife and dogma in general. Message from Yeshua about the second coming. What really is the truth about this second coming? And this one was about overcoming upcoming challenges and exposing the matrix. And this one was asking that question. Who really was he? What was his mission? Was there an Immaculate Conception? And this one was celebrating his and our eternal life and the world to come. And this one was about the fact that we are free. We can choose our reality. We can choose the way we want to view things. Definitely. We might be getting hit with all sorts of different energies. The one thing we could choose is how we react to them. And this one was, again, talking about what was the true teachings and talking about the Essene teacher of righteousness. Because Yeshua, the real Yeshua, was an Essene. And the Essene were a group that viewed the system of the world as being the problem in the first place, just like today. It was the same system, albeit different times, but still the same sort of issues going on. So they chose to live outside of society. He did interact with society because that was his mission. His mission was to shed some light in the deepest, darkest part of the Kali Yuga.
But he also taught a lot of people. He also came here to teach the understandings of oneness and the heart chakra and healing and helping people understand that, yes, you are going to be like this. You are going to be like me. And never did he say, you know, you can only pray to this one Father God. And that was never the point. So who was he? Well, you can equate him to like an ascended master, a guru. He is a real person. He did exist. He did come here to teach. He taught in parables because he had to. He was trying to expose the system much like we're trying to expose the system now. He had understandings of the technologies and frequencies used to manipulate people. Because why? Because he knew about the other worldly energies that humans were going to be coming up against. And he wanted to come here and plant understanding in the minds and hearts of people to help guide us through this darkness of the Kali Yuga, because so many of these ascended masters wanted to be with us. They care about us, but they could not physically be here through that Kali Yuga, so they left what they could, and that's their love, their teachings, their heart chakras, and their understandings, with the understanding that, yes, you can reach out to me whenever you need. And quite frankly, Mike and I, we go to Yeshua all the time. He's like our right-hand man. He's always there with all the healings. And he doesn't say you can only, use me for the no, there's many other beings that can be used for different healings, that have different talents, different aspects, different understandings. Other people need different things. Not everybody needs the same thing when you're working on them. They need different energies. So I hope that helps some.
Absolutely, yeah. He is one of our main guides, and we absolutely are so thankful for that. Even before I was doing YouTube channels, I was helping people with energy work, and I had numerous instances when people had unusual experiences, visions, and even see, like, I'm working on them in a dimly lit room with energy work, and I feel all of a sudden a ton of energy going through me. There was this one lady that was having issues, and she was older than typical. She was in her early 80s. And I think part of it also was she was having a little fear of passing on, starting to creep into her mind. And so all of a sudden, I'm working on her, and I felt energy surge through me like I had never felt before at that point. Now I've gotten used to that, and there is times when the energy pours through even higher, like yesterday. We were working on a person for the first time, but the energy that was pouring through me was actually that person's guides. They were blessing me with the energy work, helping to kind of upgrade my crown chakra. And that can happen because it's just a matter of when we open up the avenue, these amazing benevolent beings, then they're able to work through us. You got to ask. Ask and you shall receive. Why are you terrified, for those of the fundamentalist mindset, to call on anything but Jesus when nobody called him Jesus in the first place? Hello. Now that right there is a trick in and of itself that the dark side has done. You can say, well, it's, again, Jesus, which was written down in Greek, and then it was translated into Latin, and then it comes to English. Yeah, but it's not the same vibration as his actual name. And it's all about vibration. Vibration is everything, as Tesla said. It's key. So when we're calling on Jesus, we're not calling him anything that anybody else would have called him when he was on earth. This has been done purposely to disconnect people from him. They've also disconnected the whole purpose of the message. They've changed it because he was all about bringing light at the darkest times on this planet, really in the depth of the Kali Yuga. He was a teacher of light, and again, the Essenes were waiting for a teacher of righteousness, and he was a teacher of righteousness. Absolutely. He was showing us how we should act, giving us clues to practices and just the way we can view the world in a manner which will help our vibrations to rise up even when the world all around us is trying to pull us down. So, has there been, a more beautiful, benevolent person on the planet? He's one of the best, most truthful, righteous people that's ever walked the planet. Is he the only Son of God? No, that's a distortion too, because God, with the big G, is in all of us. And there are little clues to that if you would just look a little bit deeper. And I know most of you guys, 99.7% probably of the people that watch this video, because this won't make it out past the usual EEARTS family because they don't want these teachings going out. You understand. You understand the bigger picture. He was teaching us the ascension mysteries. He was teaching us how to get to 5D. What is 5D like? He wasn't a blood sacrifice. That's a complete distortion of the real picture. And as we had said, he himself was in love with Mary. I mean, they were a couple. They were a total couple. And we got from him that he's had 5 kids.
Right. So there is definitely a lineage. And yes, he does call Mary his beloved. They're actually a very adorable couple. They do talk about each other when they do come through, and they refer to each other as their beloved. They were both a very strong couple, a very powerful couple, each with equal abilities and equal ability to help and teach and help people grow into their best, blossom into anything and everything that they could be. So this is someone that they have taken a character who's a real character, but they've put it inside of a box to use as an example for control purposes. And I think that's the saddest part about this, because that's not what his intentions were. His intentions was to teach us our capacity as human beings and show us everything that we can be if we so choose. So it is definitely up to us. It's up to us if we want to rise to that occasion. But maybe some people, came here for other purposes. So we're all a little bit different. But he's here for everyone. I think that's one of the things he really wants to help people understand, is he's here for everyone. And it's not only me that you can call on. He said there's many other benevolent beings you can call on, and to open up your heart chakra. He did come here to teach oneness to those who are ready, and not everybody is ready for that oneness, and that's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. You're not broken. You're just on your very own path. That's another thing that's really important that he wanted to get across, is explaining to people you are not broken. You came here from your 5D self. We all have a 5D self, and between where we're at here on 3D and 5D, there might be challenges reattaching to that 5D self. And when you are able to heal yourself and find those wounds, then you can then see the illusion that you needed to become the full potential that you want to be when as you're here as another human being. So we're all very powerful beings, and that's what the controllers are concerned about, is that we might wake up to that.
Absolutely. So think of them more in the terms of an amazing teacher, as the Essenes were saying, a teacher of righteousness, truth. Also a yogi. Again, he had abilities that were exceptional. But have there been others that have had such abilities? We all have gifts that are a little bit different, but are equally exceptional in their own manner. So yes, there have been others that have done amazing things as well. This is all the divide and conquer dogma that we see at work here. So most definitely reach out to him, reach out to Mary, reach out to Miriam, as Miriam is the preferred name for Mary Magdalene, who you can view again as his other half. And you could also view them in many ways as the divine masculine, divine feminine. Perfect examples thereof. And why wouldn't we call on Mary? Because obviously Mary herself is, Mother Mary as well, is an ascended master. I mean, this is an amazing, beautiful being, full of love, and just wants to help all of us. So she views us all as her children. And, again, there were a couple comments out there, and they could be bots too, or just people that, really, it's the only training they know is what they get on Sundays, and they haven't gone any deeper out of fear. And I have seen those comments too. This all sounds so interesting and curious. It does entice me. I remember one person said, but I don't want to burn forever in hell. And that's the dark side. You're not going to burn forever in hell. Again, Buddha said the only hells exist in the minds of those that believe in them. So if you believe strong enough that you are worthless, you're guilty, and that, just because you were born, you should suffer hellfire, that's a horrible thing that's just such a horrible negative outlook. That's controller system. That's totally their mind control. The whole concept of a blood sacrifice is not a new one. Actually, it's something that went on in ancient civilizations. It is absolutely the way of the draconian AI collective. Absolutely. They're all about blood sacrifice. And again, they're also about the loosh that it creates, because they do have these beings which are very, very demonic, and we showed you in one of the videos of this being. It looks like it's made of fire, which would be equated in some traditions to a jinn. And these beings, they feed off of terror, fear, hatred, anger, and of course these animals that get sacrificed, it's horrible. It's horrible. What being would demand the blood sacrifice? Just ask yourself that question. It's amazing because people are so fear-based conditioned, they don't question. They think that's a loving God. Well, God so loved the world that he sacrificed his only son in a painful, horrible death. No, that's actually the controller's line, and that's just another means to control people through fear, through guilt, and just another manipulation.
And one thing hit me a while ago when it comes to, I think it's called communion, right? When you go there and you pretend to eat this stuff. But why would you even pretend to eat someone's flesh and drink their blood? Why even pretend? I mean, just sit with that for a minute. It's there's just something so wrong with this larger system of control. You're born in, and they really make you feel horrible about yourself just for being a human being. And they work on your ego, which is your survival mechanism. And they say, if you don't believe this, you're going to burn in hell forever. And that instantly, of course, that's going to scare someone. So as we are looking through these belief systems, really watch out for these fear tactics that are used. When it comes to love and oneness, I don't know that there's any fear. You might have phobias, when it comes to relationships with other people, but that's due to traumas, and that's something that you came here to work through, and that's okay. But coming right out and say, no, you're going to burn in hell forever, that's not nice.
The number one religion in the world, as far as having the most people following it, is modern Christianity. 31.5% of the entire world's population says that they are Christian. 2.22 billion followers. 2.22 billion followers. If we had the true message of Yeshua, and 1/3 of the world was following it, don't you think the world would be in different shape? Wouldn't it make sense that things wouldn't be completely falling apart like they are? Don't you think we'd see different circumstances if 1/3 of the world was truly following the true teachings of Yeshua? Could we possibly have all the chaos, the hatred, the division, the war? Something doesn't add up. And if some out there are saying, well, because everybody has to think that way. Well, everybody has to think with their heart first, and not out of a fear-based manner. And actually, when you put Christianity with Islam, they're both Abrahamic. The Abrahamic religions, the ones that come from Abraham, which Christianity and Islam come out of Judaism, and Judaism's the root. This is the dominant religious path on the planet by a mile. Islam is the second largest, 1.5 billion. So between the two of them, you're closing in on 4 billion people, as we have about 7.7 billion people on the planet. 4 billion are following the Abrahamic tradition. Why is the world such a mess? Why is it such a mess? If this is truly the path to follow. Well, it's because, again, it's not the true teachings. It's the controller's version, and it's pretty obvious. Again, blood sacrifice was common, and many, many cultures did it. And it's not something you're going to find on 5D. This is a relic of the Kali Yuga. Mm-hmm. This is the draconian system.
It is. This is what they offered. So people see this, and they see these beings who have these amazing abilities, and this is the way that they taught the people how to behave. So naturally, this is what's been passed down because people think it's coming from gods. But that's another thing that Yeshua wanted to come and teach people are all the abilities that we have in an organic sense. Not through the AI, because there were those influences as well. But he could, and she could, so could Miriam. They could both bilocate. They could both do all of these amazing things in an organic way with their bodies that we can only really dream of. But guess what? A lot of our abilities are coming online. We do work on people who feel their telekinesis is coming online, and their telepathy is coming online. And this is so important that they really stop this, because when you're able to connect with people and get downloads from one another, you get stronger. And you get that information as far as it comes to healing. This information comes into your body, and it's like your subconscious can take this information. It can do something with it and help you heal yourself. They really don't want that.
No, absolutely. And again, if you're told thou shalt not kill, then why a blood sacrifice?
Right.
I mean, come on. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious that it's totally all about control. None of it makes any sense. And some will say, oh, but you need the Holy Spirit to understand it. Yeah, you need to be brainwashed to understand it is the plain, simple truth. You need an unholy spirit to accept the idea of blood sacrifice. Quite the opposite. Again, this whole system is upside down, inside out. There is a little key here when you see Genesis, and you look at Genesis 1, it goes through, everything being created. And it says, and then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. That's going to be your food. Uh-oh. So if you took it as that, because he's right there, it said that basically it's a fruitarian lifestyle that's being taught right there. And again, I understand I'm not pushing a fruitarian lifestyle. I'm just saying, and we don't adhere to a fruitarian lifestyle. But I think you're getting a glimpse of the higher densities there. The fact that we wouldn't kill anything even to eat it on the higher densities. So like in 5D, I'm sorry guys, but on 5D there's no steak. There's no pork chops. We don't catch fish and eat it on 5D. We do still here, and me and Cindy, we're not strict vegans. We kind of go by whatever we feel, whatever the body is telling us at that time. And so for us, we're more along the lines of pescatarians because we will have fish. But most of the time, we do eat pretty vegetarian. But again, you have to listen to what your body is telling you.
Right, that's so important because look at natives. Yes, they do eat meat, but they take that as they take whatever presents itself in front of them, and they do offer love, and they do offer appreciation. And I'm one who did grow up on a lot of meat, so it's almost like my body has been gotten used to this. So when I tried to go strictly a vegetarian, I had a problem. I don't think I transferred over very well, because my body still had that memory of, hey, we need this to create blood here. So I had to do some things to alter my body, because of my body's memory. Now, I'm not exactly sure that's what happened to me, but definitely I grew up on meat, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't think that that's a bad thing. The Native Americans, it's not a bad thing. But when it does come to the blood sacrifice of animals, that really makes me sad. And I don't see why there needs to be any reason for that. When they take the life of another animal, and knowing that this life goes to another being who's actually going to take that life force and use it for themselves, that's just wrong. You can't steal another's life force, let alone take it from them. That's not okay.
No, it's pure evil. And Cindy has seen this being, and it's a very, very real being. As you see the practice of a sacrifice there, which is absolutely an atrocity. There are so many of these atrocities that are practiced on a regular basis by the dark side. And it is real. It's very real. And this was a practice in ancient Israel. And, again, all over the world, the Aztecs too, people that were conquered, they had their hearts ripped out. This is just a disgusting relic of a horrible, horrible system. And somehow it's been sold to the masses as another sacrifice, and this is my body and this is my blood. That sounds pretty damn gross. And it's not about transubstantiation. In reality, it's again conditioning and being unquestioning. And many yogis and many Buddhist monks have, over the years, performed all sorts of wild miracles. This is Prahlad Jani, who was watched by doctors and scientists. 35 scientists studied him. He claimed to go 70 years without food and water. Said he left his home at a young age of 7. After a year, he was blessed by a goddess. Scientists tried to know more about him, and they asked him for a detailed test. The test lasted for 3 weeks. They watched him. He didn't eat. He didn't drink. And all of his body functions were perfectly normal and actually better than typical for a man of his age. And then we have Babaji, who we have channeled. And I've seen him in my meditation. And this is why I did the video on Mount Kailash, because that's where I had seen him in Mount Kailash. And he is thought to be one of the teachers of Yeshua. And he's an immortal that has been around for a very, very long time. Like Hanuman, he's somebody that's here with us to the end of the dark age. He's here to help us to transition out of the age of darkness. And so, Babaji appeared to the master and the master's master of Paramahamsa Yogananda, who is one of the most well-known yogis in the world, as we see Swami Sri Yukteswar, who gave us that nice rendition of the yugas. And he was a wonderful being as well. And when Yukteswar was close to dying, Paramahamsa was over 100 miles away in a different town. And he appeared to Paramahamsa Yogananda in the flesh. Yet it wasn't the original body. He manifested a body to appear to him, to tell him, come home because I'm going to leave. And, so there are all sorts of miraculous things that have happened with other beings too, including resurrection from the dead, and you name it, all the miracles that have been attributed to Yeshua, others have done as well. And that's one of the things he did really say, is that we can all do this, guys. It's just a matter of connecting to the higher self.
Yes, definitely. And your diet plays a big part of it. Mike and I, because we do work on people, we do have a very active lifestyle. We take care of ourselves in a physical way. We do our mantras, we do our meditations, and we take care of our bodies. We eat really clean food, because when you do work on people, you want to make sure that your body is strong, because everything that goes through you is going through others, and you need that higher vibration to give to others, this entrainment that helps up their vibrations so that they can actually heal. These are things, and just the more years you work on it, the stronger your energy gets. So it is for all of us, but you do have to cultivate it. It does take time to cultivate, and it's a daily thing for both of us that we work on every day.
And I think we both probably feel like we don't put enough time into it, right, even though we do spend hours every day. Every day. So, but even with that, it doesn't feel like it's enough time. But it's a beautiful thing to feel the energy of these beings. So they do have distinctive feels. What I was getting back to when I was telling you about the old lady, that all of a sudden I felt the energy flow through me. I was sitting in a chair right behind her, and there was a full-length mirror. And she opened up her eyes and she looked, and she said she saw Yeshua come and sit down inside of me. And it was because he was working through me. And he can work through you too. It's just a matter, we just have to ask in order to receive. And as Cindy was alluding to, we need to kind of clean up our temples. Yep. I was at the store today, and I'm just watching people with their soda pop, 4-6 packs deep, and all the frozen foods and all this, all this stuff that's loaded with so much gunk. Of course, you're not going to feel the life force. How could you, with all that toxicity flowing in your body? We need to clean it up. And then, of course, we're blasted with all the energies and frequencies like the FIVEG. So, but Babaji is an amazing, amazing being as well. And somebody else you could reach out to. There's all sorts of cities. Cities are superpowers. Now, and they've been thought of as superpowers in our age, but they're just normal.
They're just powers.
These are just things that we have the ability to do in other ages. As we've talked about in both the Greek mythology and in the Vedic tradition, when we are in the golden age, we are like the gods. You see the things that these beings can do. We can do those things.
And, I do want to point out, there is a huge difference when you see beings who are using AI and then other beings who have organically grown their abilities, because we have that natural split of AI and then organic, and then AI wanting to actually overshadow the organic. So that's why we're very much about gaining your abilities naturally, because guess what? When you go to the next plane, those are yours. You keep those. You go with those from life to life to life. Now, if you're all geared up with AI, guess what? When you go to the next plane, sorry. It's just, it's going to be like lead. Yeah. If you want to use a parable, we could take a parable about fishing, because Yeshua did talk in parables and sometimes talked about fishing. Well, it's like tying lead to your legs and then casting a line. It's going to sink to the bottom pretty damn quick. And so when we think about the technologies that are being used right now, these C period, U period, R period, E period, S period, for the different plagues upon the land and etc. These things are lead weights for the soul. Now, can you overcome? If you have, you could overcome. You're going to have to work at detoxing. Borax in your bath is a good thing to do. There's many ways we could detox. Fasting, is
one of the very best ways to detox. Now, we just did a 24-hour yesterday, but that itself will add up. If you just do one 24-hour fast a week, that'll do wonders. And if you could get to the point where maybe you're doing, 20 hours and eating in a 4-hour window, that's going to do wonders for cell senescence and basically autophagy, which again is clearing out the cancerous stuff, clearing out the gunk, getting rid of the toxins out of the system, because your body is made to do that. It's just the fact that they are purposefully overloading us with stuff so that we get overwhelmed, so that we can't swim to shore, that we're going to drown because of all the weights they've tied to us.
And we did that fast, and I did a good old coffee enema. You just can't beat that.
You did a double.
I did a double because...
She had 2 shots.
I did. I needed it, because I like my body, and my body feels a lot lighter, a lot better after the fasting. So yeah, we're always kind of cleansing our vessels. That's really important. That spiritual hygiene, super important when you're working on people, because it really does make a difference.
Absolutely. And, again, the practice that I would never go a day without is the mantras. Right. Because it's really, I feel like if there's ever a time when the mantras get delayed, it's almost like it's opening the door for the dark side to sneak in. It truly is. When you call to these beings that are on the higher densities already, they're where we want to go. It's like asking them, can you give me a hand? And so they put their hand out, and then you grab it, and then they're able to pull you up. Now, of course, the dark ones want you to think these beautiful beings of light are demons and out to get you. But that's because the ones telling you that are the demons that are out to get you. And it's waking up to the fact that, and it always makes me, it's so sad when people say, oh, you new age drivel, I pray to Mary, ask Mary for help, Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene. Oh my gosh, you're talking to demons. And it's like, no, you're believing the doctrine of demons. Why else are they putting their hands? Every single one of them that you might realize, you might say something like Obama is the Antichrist himself and really truly believe it. And then yet he has no problem putting his hand on the Bible. Neither did Bush, neither did Clinton. None of them do, because it's part of their script. This is part of them selling you hook, line, and sinker. Because Yeshua was not a blood sacrifice for your sins. No, he was a teacher to help guide you. So they get you worshiping the messenger instead of listening to the message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they have their ways. And I get really sad because even sometimes people that are close to me, they just can't see why the controllers would do what they do. And sure, they might have all the money in the world, but guess what? They have this need and desire to control, and there's some lines of evolution coming up, and they need people to be clamped down. That's really important. It's a lot of information to take in, and if you're new on this journey, I ask you, do take your time. Go down every rabbit hole you could possibly go down. Allow your DNA to awaken, because when you get curious about something, that's your DNA saying, hey, we've done this before. Remember, let's go look at this. And you get really curious and really deep into something, and that's okay. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, but just take a break and go back, because that's part of the awakening path, and it's okay.
Absolutely. And why would they do it to us? Because they're not human. They really aren't. Okay, is that just a distorted signal? As we've said, we've showed you this. And he looks really troubled. Yeah. Why is nothing else distorted in the background? Why is it just her? And it's not just her. And we've shown you some of these, and actually I saw one today with the head of Pfizer that I've seen before. And then there was another video with the head of Pfizer showing he has the same neck problem that Kamala Harris does. It's because they're not Homo sapiens. They view us as sheep, as cattle, as a flock. This is the reality of what we have. They're not Homo sapiens, and they view us as just their property. And the world is catching on. So you can trust Yeshua.
Yeah.
You can trust Mary or Miriam. And there's so many other beautiful, benevolent beings out there that want to help. So whoever you resonate with, just avoid the controllers.
Yes, please. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.